Morning, everyone in the room or listening to the replays. A beautiful day to you. I'm Janita from Bermuda. I just arrived back from Ghana last evening, and it's a bright and sunny day here. Very much looking forward to Roland's presentation and very excited to be a part of this great Rotary Club of Global Impact. Passing it on to our no, not our secretary. So passing it on to, I don't want to say your name wrong. So you.
Oh, we call him Istiak. We call him Isti, but Istiak Doza. Yep.
Passing it on to Isti.
Hey everybody, yes, this is Istiak, joining all the way from Bangladesh. The weather here is cloudy with with a side of maybe flooding. Anyways, but it's actually very bad here. I shouldn't be laughing. Anyways, happy to be here and contribute, and looking forward to a great event. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and moving on to Shankar in India now.
Thank you. You need to unmute yourself.
Shankar? Well, he may be having a momentary pause, so we'll move on to Carolina and Chile.
Hi, here in Santiago, we have 12 degrees. We are in winter, but right now we have a beautiful sun. So yes, I'm happy.
All right, thank you, Carolina. Glad to hear about the sun. It is sunny here also. I will jump in next, Marty. I'm next. Sun is coming out here in South Carolina. I'm at a new project today. Going to be building a new museum, and more on that coming soon. You will start to see stuff exploding on LinkedIn as early as this afternoon. And then I would like to throw it over to the next person. Actually is going to be, we'll skip Roland for now, but Bella down in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, thank you, Marty. Grand rising to everyone. I like to be called Bella. My name is Linda, but I prefer Bella. I'm hailing from Atlanta, Georgia, where it's a beautiful 82 degrees. I've been in Atlanta, Georgia for over 25 years, and I look forward to all the new members and all the current members of the Rotary. Thank you for having me. I land my plane.
Thank you so much, Bella. Thank you so much. I am looking at a huge boiler here that has been cut in half and turned into a lava pit. So this is for fires at night when it gets cold, but I'm going to have to put a photo out of this here on the outdoor patio. It is so cool. I would like to also thank the various different people who come into the meeting. I see Anton is on, but we've had some other guests that pop in and out, and always a pleasure. Also, huge welcome to Bella as our newest member from Atlanta. She signed up this week. If you guys start to see Bella unplug, or a lady who is named Linda Rigby on the membership roster, that's Bella. Bella unplugged. And so excited. Bella is actually now going to be our 6th newest member that has just joined. And it is all 6 ladies, which is kind of cool. We're very, very, very proud of our women and our American sheroes, as well as our international sheroes, kicking glass every day of the week. Bella, what can you tell us about kicking glass and kicking brass and making a difference as a woman?
Well, Marty, I love that metaphor. I like to look at my lens to being a part of the Rotary, honestly, as being the change that you can see. I know it's a paraphrase for some people. People have coined it, but honestly, I live that. You must be the change. Be the change that you want to see. That's what I got, Marty. I'm just excited to be a part of this group worldwide. I'm just excited. Back to you, Marty.
Yeah, and Dr. Pauline has just come in from Las Vegas. We were just out there filming with Dr. Pauline. Pauline, how are you doing?
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm still trying to get used to this system. Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Pauline here. It's great to be here. With the weather is getting a touch cooler here in Las Vegas. So when I go out in the morning, do my pedaling on my little cycle on the patio, I actually have to put a t-shirt on over a t-shirt. So it's quite nice. This is a nice weather time of the year. Great to meet you all, Bella. Well, yeah, we're all doing really well, and yeah, I'm delighted to be here. I'm just waking up, to be honest, guys.
That's right. That's right. You're a few hours behind us. So thanks for being with us. We really do appreciate it. A little bit of updates before we get into our guest speaker today, and Patty takes over the meeting as the president. I did just have a meeting myself with some Ukrainian supporters, particularly in the area of dentistry. And it was so comforting yesterday and today in two different meetings to talk about all the things this club has done in providing over $300,000 of shipments of medical supplies and food, grain, rice, all types of stuff into Ukraine. Also, the films that we have made, there were some parallels on that because one of the entities yesterday I was speaking with, the husband and wife, Tara and Bill, they had hosted a big film about Ukrainian women, 12 Ukrainian women, and they were elated and surprised to hear that we have made several short films as well as streamed live shows. And then in this morning's meeting, I was telling the lady that we were meeting with, she's going to be having a huge party here in December as a fundraiser that benefits Ukraine. But I was telling her all about how ISTIAC had just put up the video, and I'll ask ISTIAC to talk a little bit about that possibly, but the Dare to Spare campaign and how we had just sent a bunch of games to Ukraine, and they arrived, and we received photos back. But ISTIAC, would you mind talking about that video that you just put up briefly?
Marty, if Dr. Pauline can go ahead, that'd be great. I'm a little preoccupied at the moment. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Pauline, do you want to comment on your impressions about the Dare to Spare campaign and the video that was made with all the games that we shipped over to Ukraine this year?
That was the video that we made for back in the summer, yes, and it's now posted up on our YouTube channel. Is that right?
Yeah, ISTIAC put it up last night and this morning.
Oh, fantastic! Oh well, I was really glad to see that there. That was an amazing collaboration across all of us, and so many people helping this amazing cause. And as I said, a story of global solidarity. That's definitely my mission in life is to bring the globe into some kind of harmony, which I don't think we see enough of at the moment. So I hope everybody goes and watches that video and also takes a look at the other videos that we have up on YouTube from all our passion projects last year. We did have some amazing passion projects from across the world, and I was very honored to be president when we were doing that video. And thanks to ISTIAC for putting that together and all the players on it, including you, Marty, you were in there. And it's a wonderful way to actually see what's happening in Ukraine and watch the faces of the kids and the families that are actually receiving our support and help. That makes us feel that we're closer together. So thank you, everybody who was involved in that. And yeah, make sure you share that with people outside of our club. And did we actually put it up on the LinkedIn page for our club? And does everybody know where our LinkedIn page is on for the global Rotary Club of Global Impact? Let's put some more comments up on there as well. That would be great. Thanks, Marty.
Yeah, that's where I saw it, noticed it, and it dragged me over to the YouTube page. So also, I would like to welcome today another member, Jean Marie Russo, who's just popped in from San Antonio, Texas. Jeannie, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Hello, hello, everybody. I am listening. I was trying to show my face up there, so I am also learning Clubhouse. But it is wonderful. I'll just very quickly say it's 77 here today, which we are embracing it. It's been 108 and above. So this is very much and a little rain, so it's very, very much embraced. But I am just applauding ISTIAC and all those involved, you and with regards to what you're doing with this film and the documentaries that you do put out. And congratulations, Marty. You've got some stellar projects that are truly unfolding, and to be a part of International Rotary Club has just been enlightening and elevating my spirit. And so I am so looking on getting more involved. You're going to be seeing an awful lot more as I'm working with investors as well on my end. So I'll give it back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Also, I want to just give a quick financial report on behalf of our international treasurer. We did get last week all of our obligations paid. So that ended up being about $1,258 that was due to Rotary International. That comes from all of our dues. We have to pay that every 6 months. Also, then we had to pay about $758 to district, which is a little bit less. The district 7680 that we belong to, the dues. So those are all paid. We generally send those things out. We've had some questions like, hey, why did I just get a $1,200 bill? That's not a bill for you. That's just where I'm sharing with the whole membership. And I send that out to about 100 emails. So it's even people thinking about becoming a member so they can see our bills and they can see that we're paying them. And don't forget that our financial statement and balance sheet with income sheet is online on our website for every year. All of our financials are posted live on our website 24 hours a day. And so you can go in there and analyze what's going on. Right now, we have just under $2,000 in the account is sitting there, and some other things that were paid last week. We did have Doris Elaine Smar come in. She comes over to my house, gives me envelopes of cash, and then I self-report that to the board of directors, anybody that gives me cash. But she wanted $70 to be given, $10 each, into something with the foundation. And so we did end up doing that. And she selected literacy was where she wanted the $70 to go into. Then she wanted $20 to go towards the governor's wife that passed away, Jennifer Kendrick. And she also paid her dues $180 early. So she's paid up all the way through the end of 2026. Those thank you letters and everything went out to Reverend Elaine and also to Governor Kendrick. You get kind of a nice little thank you letter, and it has a picture. That's the financial report. I can kick it back over to our president now, Patty Frudenberg in New York.
Yes, and I just want to also have an introduction we have some members here on Google Meets that can't make it on the mobile app. So we do run simultaneous meetings for our active members. It's just an extra little perk for necessity or convenience. So I want to welcome our members. I'm going to go from the PTR order. I see it here on screen. First, we're going to give it over to the president advisor, Doris Elaine Smar. Doris Elaine, and then you can pass it over to Quanta. And I also want to say hello, Prophet T. He's one of our new guests of our Rotary Club of Global Impact. I just invited you up. But Doris, over to you. Coming to Google Meet.
And rising, everyone. It is truly a blessing to be here in your presence. And I thank our president, Mrs. Friedenberg, for her extraordinary leadership And I am just so happy to be a part of Rotary, the Club of Global Impact. Your mission all over the world is just dear to my heart. It is approximately 80 degrees now, I think, in North Carolina, where I am in Kings Mountain, but it is going to get very warm this afternoon up in the 90s. But it's a beautiful sunny day, and I am just so happy to be a part of this wonderful organization. Thank you, everyone. And I pass it over to Quanta Dom Light.
Well, thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here, and I'm especially grateful to Patty for, accommodating us to be here with. She's making an extra effort, and thank you so much. And I also wanted to say to the person that is from Santiago, I lived in Chile and traveled all the way from La Serena to Valdivia back in 2012. And I love Chile. It's a beautiful, angelic people, wonderful, wonderful country. I really love Chile and the people in Chile. And thank you so much, Patty, for this and making an extra effort to have your mommies to accommodate, accompany you here. Thank you so much. Love you all.
You're
Yeah, I was just listening to
oh yeah, you're so welcome. Sorry, I was trying to can you guys hear me?
yes. loud and
Okay.
clear.
Okay. No, because you know what? I'm trying to do the club deck and I'm new to it, so this way they could visually see you as well, not just hear you. So I wasn't sure if that worked. I'm going to try it on my desktop. If you could just bear with me for 1 second. Just give me 1 second, Roland. Thank you so much for your patience. I want to see let me see if I think I have to leave here. Okay, let me go here. Hello. Okay, unable to unmute. No, didn't work. Okay, hold on. Didn't work. I lost everybody. Okay, wait, hold on. Well, they'll continue. They'll continue, guys. Bear with me because I'm trying to do some technical stuff here. And let me see. Just so you guys oh, there we go.
Amazing,
Okay.
amazing short film showcasing what could be for the future of an old department store there in Accra, Ghana. And if you guys get a chance to see it, I think you'll agree his work is exemplary, from the drone footage to the music and sound overlays that he does in the film. It's pretty high end stuff, and we're pulling for him to get funded and hoping that this film, the full length feature film, gets made. And also, to hear today from Roland, his dreams and aspirations as a filmmaker in Africa, as well as for the Old Kingsway department store, which he featured in his movie, and what he's thinking about that for the future. So I send it back over to Patty.
No, we thank you so much. And I'm very excited to share that on our Google Meets, we have a visual of Clubhouse. So now our members on our Google Meets have a visual of all the beautiful faces. I want to say, give the mic over, Roland, 1 more second to Prophet T, who is a new guest here in our meetings. All our members have badges. If you don't have a badge, don't worry. You're a guest. You're welcome. If you want to join our club, there's the link. But before we go over to our guest speaker, Roland, which I'm so excited to get into it, Prophet T, where are you coming in from? And welcome to our Rotary Club of Global Impact meeting.
Well. I'm all the way from Canton, Michigan, and welcome. Thank you for welcoming me in the room, and thank you. Good to everybody. How are you? And blessings to you, Patty. You're doing a fantastic job. Thank you for continuing to move forward to add value to many, many people's lives, and that you're not being afraid to be open, and that's what it takes in order to add value. And so, we just got through renting out the theater for the movie The Forge, and we've been doing that now for about, I would say, since 2003. We rent out movies, especially uplifting, inspiration, or Christian movies. We rent them out, and so that people can come that may not be able to come. And we've been doing it since Flywheel, Facing the Giants, Fireproof, Courageous, War Room, and then this new one is called The Forge, and it was sold out again. And so they know me now, so we just continue to do stuff to be a blessing to the community, and it's good to be here in the Rotary Club for global impact, changing our thoughts and mindset. So I'm complete. Thanks for letting me be here.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Marty, I'm going to pass it to you, and then we're going to get rolling going.
Yeah, thank you. Starting to heat up a little bit in South Carolina. I think we might get to about 85 degrees today. I've got a short sleeve shirt on. I did want to do a little temperature check down there in Atlanta and dip my toe in the water. Bella, what are you going to hit today? Is it going to be up to 90 the further south we go? Well, maybe Bella's getting a paper towel in the kitchen and wiping up a spill on the floor, but I think the heat is cranking up. I had the house at 76 degrees. I mentioned stormy this morning. I'm going to have to put it down to like 74, 73 with the air conditioner on again. I was just getting a little too hot and got up about 1:29 this morning, getting ready for this journey over to South Carolina. Roland, are you ready to roll and talk with us about the film? How you feeling, Roland?
And the mute, yeah, and the mute button's at the bottom, right.
I think we better mute ourselves so there is no echo. You are muted, Patty.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure what he's up to, what he's doing. If you want,
maybe Patty, you can invite him to the Google Meet room, and he can do his presentation from there. Just to talk.
Yep.
Yeah, Patty, I think I'm going to jump in and maybe call him on WhatsApp and see if he stepped out to take a phone call or what's up. I'll be back in a second, okay?
Okay. All right. Well, again, we welcome you. Thank you for our technical difficulties. We are doing simultaneous meetings here, and this is new for us on Clubhouse, to have our meetings on Clubhouse. However, I thought it was a really beautiful way to meet new people across the world, and it's a app that so much success has come out of. So I figured, you know what, let's try it out. But I still wanted to provide those Google Meets for our active members who can't download the app for one reason or another, or are just, you know, it's just easier for them to go on Google Meets, and sometimes it just works better. So I wanted to provide that simultaneous meeting, and we do have Roland presenting today. Roland, can you flash your mic? If you look at the bottom of the right of the screen, we do have a little microphone, and if you touch it, it should unmic and you should be able to talk. Otherwise, you might have to leave and come back in. Sometimes the app will ask you to give permission. All right, while they're waiting there, I'm gonna share a link on the app. So in the meantime, I'm gonna grab the link to the app here. I'm gonna share it. Hopefully, you could come on there, and we'll just see what we could do. Again, I apologize for any inconveniences might have caused. Okay, we got somebody coming in here. All right.
Okay, you talked to him on the phone in Africa. He said it is showing that he's only a guest on his side. And I was telling him that no, you're showing here that you are up on stage. So I suggested that he leave and come back in and see if that jumpstarts the system.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you here in America. Go ahead, Roland. You're good.
Great. Hi, everyone, and thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
My name is Roland. I'm an artist and a filmmaker from Ghana. Today, I'll be sharing about my experience and my journey while creating my short film, Kingsway. But I'd like to start with a short story of what influenced me to make the film, or what influences me as an artist. So, about 25 years ago, on one of the walls in the home where I grew up, an X was carved into one of the walls. You see, this wasn't just an ordinary marking put on the wall. It was a stern warning that was made to us, my brother and I, by my grandfather, who was very angry with us at the time. Why? Because we got too rowdy playing with each other. Over the years, this mark has become somewhat of a nostalgic feeling anytime my brother and I meet. We share jokes about it, we talk about it, and it always reminds us of the old man who had such a profound impact on our lives. Today, I can share that story with my son or with anyone. And when I do that, that mark no longer remains the ordinary marking on the wall, but it now has some value added to it. When you see that mark, you remember the story of what I told you. This is what has constantly kept me evolving as an artist. I keep trying to find the hidden stories in society. And I believe as an artist that our experiences shape us and make us who we are. Oh, by the way, Marty, I prepared a little slide presentation. Can I share that in the group for people to look and follow? Because it shows some visuals about how I made the film.
Yeah, you can put it in the chat. Everybody can click on it and be looking at it. And also, I did forward it to Patty this morning. She's able to actually share here at the top of the screen as well. I think a lot of people who would like to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've just done that. Put that in the chat.
Yep, I see it right there. Yeah, it's on Canva.
Great. So while I was developing my artistic expression, I began to see the need to explore the beauty in unspoken memories, in relics that we have. And I'm currently driven by the desire to draw more attention to our cultural heritage. I do this because I've realized that there's a large gap in knowledge in our country, Ghana. The country has a lot of cultural heritage, many of which are well known, but very little is known about the other ones, which less emphasis is placed on. And so you may be wondering why I chose Kingsway of all. Kingsway is very important to me because it was the first ever department store to be built in the Gold Coast. You see, for us Ghanaians at the time, we were under colonial rule. And that store was an access point. It was for many Africans our first introduction to Western consumer goods. Initially, when it was built, only the British and the Europeans who were working in the Gold Coast at the time were allowed access to purchase goods from there. And so there was a popular phrase coined at the time that the best of London was what was sold there. But today, what remains of that building is just a hollow shell. And that is ironic to me because the shell represents what we become when we don't have our values, when we don't have our beliefs, our culture, our identity. And so Kingsway represents what happens when we neglect to preserve anything that has cultural value and heritage to us. There were a lot of things about Kingsway that Kingsway used to provide to the country that shaped the consumer taste in Ghana. And so one of this item was called the kerosene lamp, which we nicknamed the Bobo. You see, back then, there was no electricity around. It was just a few select places that had power. And so it's hard to believe, though, but Accra used to be very, very dark without any moonlight. And so if family members went out to work and were coming back. Some other family members had to sit outside their huts. Yes, we used to have huts back then in Accra. And they will have to provide some form of lighting to guide their relatives who were coming back home. And incidentally, that item actually on their record was the most selling item ever in Kingsway history. And so for me, the store is of immense importance to the Ghanaian populace. But unfortunately, what remains is the ruins, if you can see the as in the slide. And so my challenge was, how do I create a body of work that to me I can transfer the knowledge or the value that I know the building has to anybody who watches the film? So I thought about it, and then I came up with a solution that I would have to give you, the viewer or anybody who watches the film, a very tailored visual guided experience that was different from what anybody had ever seen before. And so I set out by defining certain parameters before I started, as I do with any other project. And so I had to ask myself 3 questions. The first was, how was I going to achieve this? The second was, how different should this film be from any other film? And then the third was, what limitations or what challenges am I going to face because of this vision I have? And so while brainstorming, I realized that to achieve, how was I going to achieve this? I was going to have to reconstruct the store as close to reality as I possibly could, and do it in a way that anybody who saw the film will have an appreciation for what used to be and what exists now. And also I would have to film and take certain shots in a way that showed Jamestown, where the store is located, in a different way. I knew firsthand that because of the lack of access to records that we have in our country, getting reference material about the store would be very difficult because the store was built in 1914 and opened in 1915. Also, I acknowledge the fact that I had a very limited budget. And then based on the fact that I actually wanted to reconstruct the store realistically, I was going to need specific equipment, which I didn't have the budget for. But I pushed on anyway. So I began to craft my visual experience, how I wanted or how I believed somebody should experience what I was doing. So I wrote a theme down that this has to be a visual journey. And so throughout the making of the film, I will always refer back, if I was to take any decision, that is this giving the viewer a visual journey or not? So I gathered whatever funds I could. And surprisingly at the time, it was only 500 Ghana cedis in total, which as at the time I made the film was worth $71, which was very, very little. But I knew I had to think creatively to still come up with this. The challenges in Ghana, where I live, it's very difficult to come by finances, especially for creative projects. Most people will rather fund ventures that they feel will bring them quick money, but it's not very easy to get funding or support for creative projects. So I realized I would have to lean heavily on relationships I had built over the course of my career to be able to pull this off. That meant that I could contact people I knew had some equipment that I could borrow at no cost or at little cost, which I was able to do. So I began the research. I scoured the internet for everything I could find. As I said, I couldn't find any information about the store, especially pictorial images, because it was key to me reconstructing the store. And so I visited our National Archives. Every image there was after 1950, and I needed something from between at least 1920 to 1940. And so while researching, I wrote to Unilever because they used to own the building. And when they replied, their records were not digitized, which meant that I'll have to visit the UK in person to be able to access the records, which was out of the question because it was way beyond my budget. So I kept searching. And I found two things that will help me complete it. The first was a post by a Ghanaian architect and a historian who happened to have an interest in national relics. He had written a post about Kingsway. I've shared that in the slides as well, which guided me on certain things to look for. And the second, the gold mine, was a doctoral thesis by a lady called Paula Jones, who wrote her thesis in 1983. Incidentally, her thesis was on the activity of the mother company of Kingsway, that's the United African Company. And so with that information, I knew that, okay, I could then accurately build Kingsway as much as I could. But the bummer was I could not reconstruct the interior because I needed information and I didn't want to do a guesswork. I wanted people to actually feel and have an experience of it. So after I had the preliminary research, I decided, since I live in Ghana and I've been to Jamestown a couple of times, I want to tell Jamestown, the story of Jamestown, in a way that is different from how I experience it. So I looked online for a company, a local company that was offering guided tours, walking tours, and I paid and I went on one of them. So as the tour progressed, the tour guides mentioned the existence of underground tunnels, which was a new discovery because I'd never heard of that. So I came back, did some more research, and contacted the tour guide, and I went back to the location of the tunnel. Unfortunately, it's been sealed because of safety issues and a lot of leakages inside. So now that I had every material that I had, the next thing was to plan how I was going to film it. I realized that because of the nature of the film, the approach to making it would be a bit unconventional. So I went on Google Maps and plotted out a whole map of Jamestown. And then I picked out key historical buildings that I wanted to highlight because Jamestown is a very historic city. So I settled on five structures. That's the James Fort, which was a prison. It eventually became a prison that our first president was imprisoned in before he became president. Then the next was a lighthouse. The third was the tunnel. And then a new discovery I found, which happens to be one of the few privately owned houses by a slave merchant that used to deal in slaves. And this building historically is said to have had underground tunnels, underground dungeons where the slaves would be kept and then brought up to be sold. And there are also traces of a tunnel that was leading to the sea. So being creative, while I wanted to still stick to the theme of giving a guided tour, a visual guided tour, I decided to digitally extend the tunnel that I was seeing to the Franklin House because the Franklin House also has some semblance of tunnels in its hallways, which is what I did. And then I realized that to be able to film this accurately, I was looking for what technique, what visual styles can I use to make you feel like you are watching something progressing as you're going. And I discovered a technique called a hyperlapse, incidentally, on the morning when I decided to go and film. So I read about it, what it could do, picked the camera I borrowed, went outside, tried a couple of shots. When I realized it was working, I set off to Jamestown to go and do that. But then the key thing had to do with, I realized I had to use was a technique called photogrammetry. And for those of you who don't know, it's a technique where you have to take pictures in succession around an object and the images have to overlap. So when you're done with that, you have to take it at different heights. So when you're done with that, the software then produces a 3D model, an accurate 3D model. So you don't do the modeling. It produces an accurate 3D model to scale, and it's used widely in construction, for conservation efforts, and etc. But this would mean that I would need a lot of specialized equipment, a drone, which I didn't have access to, and then a high-powered computer, which was going to be a challenge. So I reached out to a contact of mine who agreed to come on board, And we set out to Jamestown to go and capture the entire area. After capturing it and generating a 3D mesh, I would then use this. This became very key because it allowed me to explore the entire area without being there. And then I ideate how I'd like to visually present things while taking into consideration that I'll need to use music as well to set the mood. So after doing this, I then wrote the script for the script for the whole film. After writing it, I was thinking about who would be the best person, who would be the best voice to carry this vision across. And then I contacted a friend of mine. She has an awesome voice, and I convinced her to come on board, which she did. Unfortunately, she's a very busy woman. So the next option was to think smart about it, because there was, one, I didn't have the budget to rent a studio to record. Two, it was possible to go there. So we ended up deciding to do the recording in her office, which is what we did. And so, leaning on relationships again, I contacted an audio engineer I know who gave me a microphone. It's a cardioid. It only records in the direction in which you pointed. And that was crucial because if it was any other microphone, the narration would have been horrible. And so I did the recording for that. Then the next thing was to actually start doing the reconstruction of the store. So using the reference images I had gathered, I began modeling. But the first thing was to use the mesh I generated from the photogrammetry and then track it to the camera. But after filming, what I realized was I've showed you the key historical sites. I've introduced Jamestown to you. What's the best way I'm now going to use to reveal Kingsway? That will keep you guessing as to what is coming next. And while I was filming, I realized that every time we go on tour, anytime there are people organizing tours, it's either you are walking or either you are sitting down. So it's some sort of eye level that you look at the edifices as you're passing by. And so that guided me while I was filming, because I wanted it to be like you are literally walking through. So all the shots were kind of like at eye level. But right after the last building, Asher Fort, then I switched to the drone. So as I said earlier on, I used the 3D mesh to experiment how I could reveal it. And so I did a short animation and I presented it to the drone pilot that, hey, this is how I would like us to film, to use the drone to shoot the building. But we had to come to a compromise because of safety issues. One, it was too low, a car coming could hit it. Two, there were a lot of power lines crossing the road, and that would be in the path of the drone. And so we compromised and we filmed it in a different way, almost similar to that. And so I now had to make sure that the 3D model and then the drone footage matched. Then the next thing was, how do I wanted the viewer to feel like you are looking through a window back into time. I didn't want it to be like, okay, this is what he's talking about and this is a 3D model of it. That was not my goal. I still insisted on sticking to the initial vision. So I decided to use a pullback, like a reveal. And while doing that, then the narration begins. And while she's talking about the building itself, then the transition is subtle. So by the time the camera has pulled out, you are looking at how the building used to be in today's time. And so music came in handy there because I had recorded ambient sounds using the camcorder with the microphone. And so I was able to get to use that, do some overlays, as Marty said, to be able to capture that emotion. And then at the end, I wanted you to, so the whole vision was, I'm showing you the building as you are looking at it. And then we recorded her narration at that point in a nostalgic way for you to, so she sounded a bit sad, like as if like we are losing this. And then after that, then you see the camera orbits around the building and brings you back to reality to show you what isn't there anymore. And so when I was done with that, there were a lot of realizations and lessons I learned. Key was that even though you have passion to do something, you have to be prepared to do it. Because when I spend time, because I'm very passionate about history and environments as well, I started learning how to create digital environments myself. But I didn't know that eventually this is what I'll be doing. And so I would say spend time honing your craft and perfecting it, because this was a pure example of preparation meets opportunity. Secondly, the most important thing I'll say is relationships, because without the relationships I had built, there was no way I could have made this film. It would have just been, the film would probably have stalled and eventually have been shelved. It would have been another statistic of a great idea that never got off the ground. And so I'll say use what you have, learn as much as you can, because I was very limited in resources. If I had looked at the budget I had, I would never have attempted doing this. I read a lot. I was relentless in the research. I was relentless. Even when I was told that there was no information about it, I still pushed on. And that's something I've learned to a lot of tenacity and resilience. It's something that can get you all the way. The biggest blessing, I'll say, for me is the reception of the film. I personally enjoy watching how people receive it when they see, when they watch the film, particularly when they see the subtle change of the now to how it used to be, and then watch their reaction when it returns. And also when they also hear about the tunnels. That it brings me a lot of joy to know that I've impacted people, I've showed people something they didn't know. And it's also it brings me some joy to know that that sticking to the vision I said, regardless of what limitations I had, has paid off. And then came the biggest of all, winning the first place in the film award. Incidentally, that's the first time I've entered anywhere into a film festival. And so I was completely blown away when Marty announced me as the winner. That has given a lot of validation to the work I've done. And it's made me know that all the work I put into it, the film took over a year to complete. It's 2 minutes, but it took me a year and 3 months to finish. It makes me know that all that hard work didn't go to waste. It has opened a lot of doors. I've had meetings even with some governmental agencies who see the value in it and are willing to come on board. And so I'd say thank you to you guys for having me. And I'll be happy to share to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Roland. That was amazing. I did get to see the film, and also I was one of the judges. However, I really was fascinated at all the visuals and how you brought history back. I would like to open up the floor for some questions, and we also have a couple of members here on our Google Meets, and we also have Coach Ritu joined us. So I would love to bring it over to Google Meets when we're done here, asking any questions. So again, flash your mic or raise your hand. If you're new to Clubhouse, what you do is you hold down on your face and emojis come up, and you could raise your hand like that, or just flash your mic, and you could ask a couple of questions here. Got anybody questions? Do we have any questions here? We're going to ask here. We have any questions here on our Google Meet? Anybody? And we want to say hello to Coach Ritu, our president-elect. Coach, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Hello, everyone.
Roland, congratulations. And what a heartwarming story of a project, the costs, etc. I just want to throw in a little bit of backstory for myself that I did a documentary series which eventually won many awards, and it started as a healing project. What a way to bring history or some important topics visually. And my take was, when I did my project, was that anything visual has a lasting impact in people's psyche. You can write books, you can write articles, blog, whatever. You're left to people's attention and uh, uh, interest to read it or not. But visually, anything that is created everlasting, and now it would become part of digital library in many, many places. Congratulations. I wanted to add to that is that anyone taking up on a project similar to this, things have changed. I did my documentary in 2016. In 2024, we have a lot of tools available, and it's just helps us so much because people don't have time as much. So if you're recording something and presenting it in such a way, as Roland had explained, what he thought about, all the thought process he put in, how the voice should sound, how the people or the viewers should perceive it. This is fabulous. Outstanding work. Um, I hope that you will have continued success in your project.
Mm, that was
Thank you.
good. Would you like to respond to that other you want to expand on anything, Roland, that she might have shared?
Yeah, she said everything I would have loved to say, and especially to highlight on the fact that visually is going to have a long lasting impact or imagery in your mind. That's one of the reasons why I decided to be very meticulous in the way I approach the film. So yeah, thank you for your kind words.
Oh, thank you, Roland. Anybody here on Google Meets? We got Quantum Dawn Light. We got Doris, Pauline. Any questions for Roland? No, everybody's giving a thumbs up. They love your share. I do have a question.
Patty,
Yes.
Patty,
Oh, yay.
this is Jeannie. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
go
I'm
ahead.
trying to.
Go for it.
get
Go
my
for it. You got it.
Yeah,
You got it.
okay, all right. Nolan, this is Jeannie Rousseau with in the U.S. and I am just very, very much intrigued by how you did it and what you did. Your courageous perseverance truly, truly shows the passion in your heart. I'm wondering what your ability is now for your next project, and if I should know this, I apologize. But what are your plans now as you move forward? Definitely continue to bask in this celebratory moment and to highlight it and continue to get the word out on Kingsway. But now, is this going to open up an opportunity for documentaries or for another project that is related down the way?
Yeah, great question. So this is actually the first of many I intend to do. That's why I've actually been in talks trying to get some funding because I need some extra hands to be able to completely do an extensive work. We have there are a lot of many heritage sites that aren't as talked about that I can dare say have much more exciting history than the ones that are out there. And that's my aim, to bring light to that, not just in Ghana, but across the African continent as well. So
beautiful. Make sure that we connect offline. I am on WhatsApp and we can talk further.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I'll do that.
Great.
Yeah, I was going to mention that is a primary aim and goal of his is to achieve funding for his film. So, when filmmakers enter the United States Presidential Service Center International Film Festival, which is moving this year to an epic mega convention site here in South Carolina at the Powerhouse at University Center. Every February is when the festival is. But that's their big goal, Jean Marie, is to try and get funding for their films and to have somebody see it or hear it or watch the trailer or watch their short, say, wow, that's very interesting. I'd like to fund that. So that's his objective, is to get the funding. And that doesn't mean he's looking to have somebody send him over a huge bag of money. Sometimes the family offices and the angel investors, will say, look, I'll pay the bills, up to like $200,000, but no, I'm not sending a big bag of cash over to anyone. And that's fine. Roland's not looking to have somebody send over a mega deposit.
Okay. No, this is good to know. I appreciate that. And yes, we'll connect offline and I'll keep you posted, both Marty and you, Roland.
Sure.
Thank you. Any more questions? Any more questions for for Roland over here? That was beautiful, Jeannie. Flash your mic.
Hi, Patty. It's Janita.
Go for it.
Say thanks to Roland for his presentation today and for preserving culture and sharing the history. And so, as a lover of Ghana and history, it definitely is something I'm interested in, and we'll certainly see how I can support him and connect him to the creative community that I have met in Ghana to help him forge ahead. So while I was there, I was connected to a creative community called AWO, and certainly would love to share that information with Roland and see how I can support him and the work that he's doing. So well done.
Thank you, Janita.
Now, Roland, Janita, I see a synergy here. I know you just left Ghana. However, Roland, if you are in the Friends of Rotary, I recently shared some filming of a song she did with the community and the children in the orphanage. I see a documentary in the horizon. I see a documentary for Rotary on the horizon. I'm just saying. Roland, I do have a question for you. If we have anybody else, just flash your mic. But Roland, I have a question for you. And my question for you, Roland, is, were there any blessings in disguise, in hindsight, that seemed like a disaster in the moment?
Yeah. So I'll say one was the realization. I'll say in some ways, not having access to the funds was sort of a blessing, because it forced me to think outside the box. I don't think the film would have looked like this if I had the funds. I'd probably have gone for something that would not have made sense. But it made me reach deeper into myself and to figure out solutions I wouldn't naturally have done. And secondly, to realize the importance of relationship and consciously built over the years. So I'll say yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Well, again, we thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing another documentary. I'm going to hold you to it. And thank you all so much. Marty, I'm going to pass it over to you for any reminders for upcoming meetings and any final thoughts. Marty is our moderator here along with me. I'm the president, Patty from New York, and I'm also moderating here on the Google Meets. I want to thank everybody for joining us. We do have replays available. Check out our website. It's also I'm going to put the website, everybody, in the chat here. And again, thank you all for joining us today. Marty, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Patty. As we wrap up today, it's 12:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is August 27th for our show featuring Roland Dogo of Ghana. and super proud of him and what he's doing in the world. Mega proud. Big things coming up, of course. It's going to be celebration of World Polio Day, and raising money is coming up later towards the end of this year in the fall. Please consider your donations to the Rotary Foundation. If you would like to give, you just go to rotary.org at any time. And if you are a member of Rotary International or a member of our club, you want to make sure that you sign in, log in, and use your password, and then make your donation, because that's what gets you ratcheted up for points. It also provides points to the club and to the district, and it builds points for you towards your Paul Harris Fellowship. The foundation is a 501c3 listed foundation, and our club is a 501c4. When you do that, of course, you can get the tax letter will come to you by email. They're pretty quick about it. Sometimes it'll hit you within an hour. Other times it might be 2 days. But I do get my tax letters, and it's nice to give to the many different areas. Like I said, Doris Elaine Smar wanted hers to go to literacy. So $70 into literacy, that's a big ticket item for her. But there's women and maternal care. There's many other issues, 7 different pillars in Rotary that the foundation focuses on. And the foundation is, of course, 118 years now with Rotary International. The foundation was formed a little bit later. The foundation also is 4-star listed on Charity Navigator. If you want to check out our IRS Form 990s and see what we're doing with our money. Also, we have had a banner year last year, over 30% increase into the fund, just from smart investments and watching what we're doing. And we've had just recently as much as $243 million donated to Rotary International, to the fund, Rotary Foundation. And we're also have 100 out of 100 for a score, on Charity Navigator. So we're doing good things and we have good reports. Thank you to everybody, and have a wonderful week, the rest of the week, and a happy Tuesday today. Take care now. Bye-bye.
All right, we'll be leaving. I'll be closing out the room in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thanks again, everybody. God bless.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Okay, I ended the clubhouse. Still in recording. Let me just stop the recording. Let me see here. And then, yeah. Well, the meeting's over, so I'm going to stop recording. And